First Officer's personal log, stardate 55297.3. I had a close look at the Sovereign yesterday. It was beautiful, an absolutely colossal ship. It was my hope that a chance to serve on such a vessel would come with my new posting. But Starfleet has its reasons for assigning me as First Officer on the Dauntless. With Captain Wright's experience and knowledge, I could have learned a great deal. Starfleet will surely feel the loss of such a capable officer. My new captain is just that. New. We'll probably be learning some lessons together. The captain spent a lot of time as a first officer, but has only been on the Dauntless for the last 4 months. From what I've read in the service records, I'm sure the captain will be a fine example for me. The bridge feels a little more social than I'm used to. It's understandable that the crew should feel comfortable with their former first officer in command. But respect and discipline should always be maintained on the bridge of a starship, and I intend to make sure they are.
Yeah, if that isn't an I want the captain's job, and for some reason I'm really disappointed about being the first officer on a Galaxy-class starship, I really don't know what is. So, you know, she's pretty much the disciplinarian. Sorry for talking over the guys there, but again, it's just like, shall we do something completely obvious, Captain? Why, yes, you do that. Makes me feel like, you know, a big man, big important person telling you to set course deeper into the system. Yeah, properly good. So, we're still on our supply run here because we haven't... we decided to go and look at a Sovereign class starship instead of sort of delivering much needed supplies to a system that's been hit by a solar wave recently. So, you know, we've got to get our priorities in order. Sovereign class starship's more important than people dying. You got that? Good. So we're just getting into orbit of the planet here because apparently you need to be in orbit to hail someone. No, don't hail the colony. I'm looking at my ship. Okay, right. Now we can hail the colony. Can you handle that?
Hailing frequencies open.
Good.
Incoming transmission from the Geki colony, sir. On screen.
Better late than never, Dauntless. It's a good thing that most of our facilities are below ground. It saved us from the brunt of the Vesuvi event. Now that you've arrived, I'll transmit the coordinates for your teams to beam down to.
I have the coordinates for the colony, sir. Ready to commence beam-down operations. Transporter rooms 2 and 3 report all supplies and relief teams have been transferred to the surface.
That will do, for now. I shall contact you if our needs should change. Thank you, Dauntless. Takahara out.
Sir, we are receiving an emergency transmission. It's pretty garbled. I'll boost the power to main comm array. That should clean it up.
This is the Cardassian freighter Karun. A Romulan vessel has attacked us. We have sustained heavy damage to our antimatter containment pods and are operating on emergency power. Please acknowledge.
There's too much subspace interference to open a channel at this distance. The signal appears to emanate from the edge of the Beol system near Beol 4. Shall I set course?
Captain, we must respond to this distress call.
I suppose we should answer a distress call, shouldn't we? And I hope that going to warp in orbit like I'm about to do leaves a massive tidal wave on Director Jackass's planet there. Honestly, turning up trying to help people, don't give me attitude.
Arriving at Beol 4, sir. Dropping out of warp. The Karun is signaling, sir. Audio only.
We are taking heavy damage.
Lost the signal, sir. Their comm array may have been damaged in the attack.
I'm
Intercept
reading
course.
2 unknown
plotted.
contacts in this system, Captain. Resolving. It's
Yellow
a Cardassian
alert.
freighter
Shields
and a
up.
warbird, sir. The warbird is towing the Karun toward the system's asteroid belt.
Why the asteroid belt?
The asteroids would interfere with her communications. She wouldn't be able to send out another SOS.
Initiating scan.
Romulans could take her apart at their leisure.
Running a standard scan on her, Captain.
Results, Commander?
I can't read her. She has a dampening field over her hull.
That's odd. Are they hiding something?
Perhaps the Romulans know something we don't.
We are being hailed. On screen.
Ah, you again.
Warbird
Captain
cloaked.
Karen, stand down immediately. You are attacking a ship protected by interplanetary law.
So the law protects smugglers, does it? The treaty signed at the end of the Dominion War forbids the rearming of Cardassia's military. Scan them yourselves. I have no more time to waste with you. Torren out.
The Karoon is drifting toward the asteroid belt. Her engines are still down.
Sir, I'm getting a weak signal from her. Audio only. Moving within tractor beam range of the freighter, sir.
Managed to patch communications. Emergency power is fading.
We're coming, Karoon. Hold on.
I can't detect the Warbird.
We should bring the Karoon's speed to 0. Otherwise it may drift
Tractor
into another
emitters at full
asteroid.
power. Engaging tractor beam. We have the Karoon in tow.
Incoming message from the Cardassian Gull, Captain.
Captain, we are happy to see a Federation ship. We were making a supply run when the Romulan vessel ambushed us. We have been able to transfer power to our life support systems, but unless we get main power back online, we are not going anywhere. We've taken damage to our deuterium supply valves and our antimatter containment unit.
Sir, we could send a team over to assist in the repairs. That would get the main drive back online.
We are happy to accept the materials you offer, Captain, but we do not wish to inconvenience you too greatly. We can make the repairs ourselves.
Well, that's completely unsuspicious, isn't it?
We're in danger of colliding with another ship, Captain.
Yeah, that is completely unsuspicious that they're running with a, they're running with a dampening field up, and they don't want us beaming over.
Checking her course into the asteroid belt, sir.
Haha, that's what you get for cloaking. Burn. Little bit of a confession to make here. This is the second time I ran this because I was so incompetent the first time I ran it that the Warbird decided to leave me alone and just killed off the Karoon. That's how bad I was, seriously. But, needs must. And we're going to go after the ship. Now, I've got to admit that when I'm doing the editing process, me fighting looks a hell of a lot better than it does when I'm doing it in this motion. But that's just because a Galaxy class is so slow. So I got to burn its torpedoes a little bit there. I'm targeting its weapon systems because, number one, I want to disable it, not destroy it, because that could cause a... well, there's no such thing as an international incident in space, but, it could cause an interstellar incident. I don't really want to be destroying a Romulan ship. They are still... I believe they're still our allies, or close enough. This game is set before Nemesis, so... Is it set before Nemesis? Yes, it is set before Nemesis. It's also set before the reboot, of course. If it's been set before Nemesis, it's also before the reboot, so Romulus still exists. I just find it hilarious that it was always the Galaxy-class starship was more manoeuvrable than a Warbird. It was like, at that point, I just feel like the Warbird can't manoeuvre at all. Because the basic fact of the matter is that a Galaxy-class ship is a tug. Trying to get through its top shields here so these torpedoes can get through to the hull.
Top shield has failed.
To be honest, the main weapons on a Warbird that are going to cause damage are going to be its disruptors. So really they would be what I aim for. The secondary advantage of going for the disruptors is that they're on the side of the ship. So therefore you're going to have to go through the left shield more often than the forward shield. And it's the forward shield which is going to be the strongest shield on pretty much any of the ships. But that has disabled the Warbird's forward torpedo, so now I'm looking at the aft torpedo, and he cloaked again, which was a dumb thing to do when I've got a phaser lock. Oh, I missed my opportunity there. Oh no, I just was out of phaser arc range. I don't know if I've ramped up my weapons here, because my forward torpedo should be online again by now. There we go. One of the advantages of using full power torpedoes is that you will is that your torpedoes will increase in power again. Ugh, wow. I don't know how, like, how much they missed by, but it was a lot. But at least she's maintaining that I'm doing damage to her at the moment, rather than going for the Soyat. Or going for whatever that Cardassian ship's called. Bad move there, I rotated to the left, although I actually rolled rather than rotated, so you could see the shots hit my top shield there, which at the time was my strongest shield, so therefore I kind of got away with it. And I finally decide to go for the disruptor cannons here, which are I would say they are a much weaker area of the ship than trying to go for through the main shields. And also they are pretty much the Warbird's damage output. If you can drop the disruptors, then the Warbird loses pretty much all of its damage output, because it has like one decent disruptor beam with not a lot of coverage, and its torpedoes only fire in one direction, and they're gone.
We are being hailed. On screen.
Stand down weapons.
Excellent.
All stations,
you managed
yellow
to
alert.
drive them away. They'll think twice before preying on another helpless Cardassian freighter.
They took some heavy damage, sir. I detect no other vessels. The area appears to be clear.
Sir, may I ask your ship's cargo and destination?
Relief supplies for an outlying outpost. The Federation was not the only one to suffer in the Vesuvia event.
Very well. Good luck on the rest of your journey.
Thank you for your assistance, Dauntless. We can continue with our repairs. Karun out.
So why the dampening field if it's just food and medicine?
Maybe it helps keep the food fresh.
I find it hard to believe that the Romulans would attack a freighter filled with relief supplies. I've informed Admiral Liu of our progress. Admiral Liu is responding.
Good work defending the Karun, Captain. The Romulan actions in this region have been erratic. We are unsure as to their motives. It is possible that they are acting on intelligence unknown to us. In the meantime, I have an urgent assignment for you, Captain. Starfleet Intelligence has received information regarding Ferengi vessels smuggling contraband to the Cardassians. Several suspicious activities have been reported in the Ceres system. Investigate, try to keep it discreet, and find out what they're up to. Liu out.
Ah, so we're going to be wearing sneakers for sneaking at this point. You realise that generally whenever I get out of combat I immediately go to yellow alert or green alert. The reason for that is that I want your main battery actually recharges very quickly when it's not in use. So by immediately going to yellow alert, you can make sure you turn pretty much all your stuff that takes a load of power off. Your weapons take a lot of power. And if you take those offline, you won't be using your main battery and it'll recharge quickly. It might not sound a lot that you're gaining back 10 to 15% in between a battle, but it can actually work out if you're in a long battle. Just admiring a few more of the game's graphics. But yeah, we're in this situation now where the Cardassians are definitely up to something. I'm a little bit, it's a little bit disconcerting that the Romulans saw fit to fire on us in that last episode, but we managed to disable them. Certain ships in the game genuinely have weak points. The Warbird's a fairly decent all-rounder. It doesn't really have a massive weak point. I just think it's lacking a little bit in coverage and overall firepower. Its forward firepower is very good, but its aft and sort of side firepower is really not that good. So if you're a ship looking to take it on, you're probably looking to just broadside it if you possibly can, because that's when the Romulan ship pretty much can't hit you, and you also can gain access to its disruptors.
Approaching the Ceres system, sir. Dropping out of warp.
Long-range scan, sir. Initiating scan. Something there. Hard to read at this distance. Near Ceres 2. That's all I can get now, sir.
If we keep our weapons and shields offline, it will be much harder to detect our ship.
Course laid in. Aye, Captain. Approaching Ceres 2, sir.
Scanners indicate 3 contacts in stationary orbit at Ceres 2. I'm reading a Ferengi Marauder, a Cardassian Galore, and a Keldon. Starfleet Registry identifies the Marauder as the Kravis, sir.
Can they detect us?
Not unless they can read us through a gas giant, Commander. We're out of their standard range. Unfortunately, we can't pick up any communications between the ships. There's too much interference from the gas giant.
Even with shields and weapons offline, we'll still need to keep about 200 kilometers between us if we want to avoid detection.
We could retreat behind the moon and eavesdrop from there, sir.
Okay, so let's head towards the moon and hope that they can't see us. I have turned my sensors up quite nicely, but this takes us away from the Cardassian and Ferengi ships, and we should be able to get a good idea of what they're talking about.
We're clear of the gas giant, sir. They can't detect us with their sensors at this range.
Can you read their communications, Ensign?
Audio only, but I can put it on speaker.
Informed you have great need of this equipment for your military. Surely
Entering
you have
standard
no
orbit.
difficulty in understanding the old law of supply and demand.
We have a contract. You will notice there is a forfeit clause. Forfeit? Your life and your ship. If we do not get our ships.
Coming right up, Gulp.
Record the rest of it, Ensign. We'll review it later.
Equipment for their military. They're forbidden to upgrade their ships or technology, not without Federation knowledge.
Hence, smuggling.
Sir, the transfer has been made. The Cardassian ships are leaving. Intercept course plotted. Leaving orbit.
They've gone to warp. The Marauder is still on impulse power.
Red
Take
alert,
them
shields
a few
up.
minutes to be up to full warp capacity.
Shall we engage the Marauder, sir?
No, let's let him go. I mean, he's only violating Federation law. Of course we're going to try and catch him. Get after him.
The Marauder spotted us. She's increased her speed, sir.
Guess he doesn't want to get caught.
Sir, do you want to disable her?
The Ferengi Marauder has always been a really strange ship to me, to tell you the truth, because when the Ferengi were first introduced in the Next Generation, they were supposed to be they were supposed to be a brand new enemy. The Klingons have been absorbed into the Federation, or were now allies of the Federation, so therefore there was no need for the Klingons to be the enemy anymore, and it pretty much was going to be the Ferengi who were going to be the major enemy at this point. So in the first few episodes, or the first couple of times that the Marauder appeared, the Marauder was seen as genuinely a match for a Galaxy-class starship, or if not a match for a Galaxy-class starship, it was definitely, a danger to it. However, in future episodes and everything else, the Marauder has just been seen as pretty much a trading ship. With, it does have weapons by all means, but it isn't a really impressive ship. I've just turned Felix on so you can actually see what he does when you tell him to engage to destroy. He doesn't move the ship much, he certainly doesn't do evasive maneuvers or anything like that. He really only... he sweeps through phaser arcs a little bit and does a few other things to try and bring weapons to bear, but he's not very good at evasive maneuvers, and it's genuinely, he's genuinely not that great at it. So usually you try and turn him off when you get the option. But we're almost there with this Ferengi ship now. We are only trying to disable her. I am a bit worried about the amount of damage which is getting done to her, but it should be okay. If these 4 torpedoes hit the warp engine, she should be disabled and all good.
That's it, sir. Both her warp engines are offline.
Hail the Marauder, Ensign.
Marauder, this is the USS Dauntless. Identify yourself.
Yes, Dauntless, you have damaged us for no reason, and...
Get him on screen, Ensign.
Oh. Yes, greetings, Captain. Damon Prague, in command of the Kravis here.
Doing a little business, were you, Damon?
A female, speaking to me. Captain, it is insufferable that
I am a
should have
Starfleet
to...
officer, Damon. You've just violated about 20 Federation laws by aiding a former enemy. What would Nagus Rom think of that? Now, what was your business with the Cardassians?
This was a simple transport contract. I picked up a cargo and delivered it. Just that.
What was the cargo?
Truly, I do not know.
Oh, please don't tell me you didn't peek. What was it?
Very tightly sealed. I couldn't open it. It was a plain container. There was nothing to even hint at the contents. Truly.
How about an educated guess?
Captain, the Cardassians have come back. They heard his SOS.
Position?
Edge of the system. Coming fast.
We will continue this later, Prague.
Ah, I see. It's that old adage. We broke it, so now we've got to pay for it. Yep, the Cardassians are coming back, and I have to defend the Kravis, which I've just shot up. What I could have done was actually change the phasers to low-intensity phasers. They're more likely to do damage to a subsystem.
Incoming transmission.
Oh dear.
They're firing at us. Dauntless, you must protect us until we have warp capacity. I'll tell you everything I know. Please, Dauntless.
Okay, we'll help you. But this is going to come out of your profit margin. Now, for those of you who are wondering, or might be wondering, yep, you will recognise the Ferengi voice actor. It is Max Godunchik. He is, or otherwise known as the voice of Rom. I've probably butchered his name horribly, so my apologies to him. But he is the voice of Damon Prague, so, you know, we are getting some heavy hitters, as it were. The funny thing is, they mentioned, what would Nagus Rom say? I don't know. Let's ask him. I mean, we've got the you know, you're the actor. I'm targeting the sensor array here on the Keldon. Without a sensor array, the ship can't target you, so it can't fire. I think that with the Keldon, I'm just better off going for either the warp core or maybe the compressors or something along those lines. But I am rotating multiple ways here. Again, bad idea there to rotate to the left because that is my current weakest shield, so I shouldn't be exposing that to the Keldon if I can avoid it. Turning onto the starboard shield is fine because that is a strong shield and therefore can take a few hits. You'll notice when you're doing the rotation correctly that instead of having one red shield and a bunch of green shields, you'll have, kind of like I have, where you have 4 light green shields and nothing really being, you know, no severely damaged shields. And what you can do is you can rotate through your shields. If you do have a strong one, just see if you can face that one towards the ship that you're attacking, and that will allow the other ones to regenerate. See, I've got my strongest shield is my right side or starboard side now, so I've got that one facing the Keldon. And now my aft and port shields have gone green, so we should rotate towards those as well. To be honest, it's kind of natural if you rotate through your phaser arcs that this happens. You rotate your fore and aft torpedoes as well, you get a sort of decent rotation. Obviously the guys who play multiplayer Bridge Commander are way better than this than me, but I do try and learn. But for me, in these games, always, be it Free Space or anything else, I am usually a huge fan of just going straight for the maneuverability rather than the overall firepower. Although I suppose that when I played Free Space 1, the Hercules was my favourite fighter because it had half decent maneuverability, but it had monstrous firepower. It was like that's the thing that'll get me away from maneuverability, is if my ship just has ridiculous amounts of firepower. What I should do here to troll the Galore? Oh, I can't.
They're turning away.
Their warp engines are engaged. They've warped out.
Daemon Prague is
Stand
signaling.
down weapons.
On screen.
All stations, yellow alert.
Dauntless, I thank you for your protection.
Interesting. Especially since you called for the Cardassians to come back in the first place.
Clearly an error on my part. I must apologize. I apologize. We part on a friendly basis, do we not?
Friendly? That depends on what you deliver to the Cardassians.
Well, I received a shipment from a trader near the neutral zone. The Cardassians were most anxious to get it. It's some piece of equipment they do not have. Perhaps they're not allowed to have it. They were concerned that my ship not go through any Federation inspection point.
And of course, you didn't.
My course didn't take me near one. It happens.
I'm sure it happens frequently with you, Daemon. Expect a financial levy on your profit from this venture from the Grand Nagus. I doubt he'll be happy with you once we inform him of your activities. Dauntless out.
I'm sure he had more to say. Pity we won't hear it.
The Marauder's warp engines are back online and powered up. Very efficient repair crews, I'd say.
Kravis is warping out.
We've gotten all the information we can here. Reporting our status to Starfleet. Admiral Liu is responding. Routing to the view screen.
Hello, Dauntless. I've sent your transmission on to the intelligence experts. An open attack on a Federation vessel is a serious event, but may only be the action of a small faction inside the Cardassian military. Which brings me to your next assignment. We received garbled signals from Klingon and Cardassian ships resupplying at Biranu Station. It appears the Klingons and Cardassians are on the verge of open conflict. Captain Picard has asked us to send a Federation starship to help defuse the situation. Yours is the only ship close enough to respond. We lost contact with the station shortly after they transmitted their distress call. Considering the Cardassian attack on the Dauntless, I'm concerned for the well-being of the station. Proceed to Biranu immediately. Liu out.
Standing by to change course, sir.
Well, we will come to that next time, but first off, I'm going to show you what I do when I need photon torpedoes or a little bit of a repair, because I have just had a fight with a Romulan warbird and that fight with a Galore and a Keldon, so I am going to head back to Starbase 12 for a repair and reload. Now, one thing I was saying that you could do to troll the Galores is that certainly early in the game... Ooh, nice burn mark I've got there. Certainly early in the game, the Cardassians will often warp out if you do them enough damage. One of the things that you can do, just to be a real sort of dick about it, is that you can target the Cardassians' warp engines, and if you manage to disable them, they won't be able to warp out, and therefore you can just destroy them at your leisure. And I tend to do that because I just feel like the Cardassians deserve it. Anyway, see you next time, guys.